So today, let's learn Saturn in the 12 houses. So the basis for this is I'm taking Kurma Avtara. And the previous class, whoever did not listen to it, please go back and listen to that class. The significations of the Kurma Avtara and then the Puranic stories of the Shani. These are the two things I will be focusing on while I will be talking about the Saturn in the 12th houses. So Saturn, as we all know, is an old man. Just to give you a quick recap of what Saturn can give. Saturn is an old man. Saturn ran away from his father. Saturn did not want to stay alongside his father. He made a rebellion against him, or rather did not want to meet him. Either way you can take it. He also had issues with his mother or mother-like figure, because with his stepmother he had issues. Right. And Saturn is a big achiever. Don't think Saturn is a bad achiever. Saturn is a big achiever in life. However, the task that he takes up, he'll take up such a task which is overly perfect. Try to achieve. He will try to achieve the most perfect thing in life, and that's why it takes longer for Saturn to do something. And moreover, he's a little cold. He will not take decisions or he will not move very fast, and he is devoid of emotions because he's staying in a land which is full of ice or gas, and there is no water there. And Saturn doesn't like the moon, and Saturn doesn't like the sun. So the luminary qualities Saturn do not have. So luminaries always shine in a group. Let us suppose there are a group of people, the luminaries always shine. So Saturn is always a person who would not want to shine in front or show up in the front and lead a team from the front. No, he doesn't like those things. He will always stand behind a team and keep the team going ahead with the task. I mean, I will not say that the way Saturn is doing is wrong. Okay. There will be some tasks in the world where the leaders have to support from the behind. And there will be some tasks in the world where a leadership has to lead from the front. Both are different tasks and each are required depending on those conditions. So, I mean, we can never say that Saturn is a bad planet, some other planet is a good planet. Wherever Saturn is needed, there Saturn is needed, and Saturn is the only thing that can do the job for you. Now let's focus on Saturn in Lagna. So all these 12 houses that we talk about, they will work from the Lagna, they will work from the Aries or the Mesha as well. However, these are very generic statements. So the nakshatras that we have talked about in length, the results from the nakshatras are going to be more and more perfect, more and more aligned. However, these results that we talk about, individual planets from the Lagna and the Mesha, can also help you in most of the times. What happens is, why do we have to learn this? Just in case most of the times the nakshatra is giving a better result than this one is. If we know the result of this as well, it will help you in providing remedies. Just in case if you have to provide a remedy, if there is a said planet at a said place, that remedy may not work, then you may have to alter that remedy to see that that planet is not stopping that remedy. To understand that, we are trying to see what Saturn can do in Lagna, or for that matter, any planet that can, do by staying in any of the houses from the Lagna and the Mesha. Okay. I know you will have questions. You may write them on a paper. We can talk about them in length after the call is over. I mean, after the class is over. So Saturn in Lagna. Saturn is an old man. You look at the life of Shani. We've talked about life of Saturn, the Shani, in length in Ashwini and Bharani Nakshatra. Whoever has not listened to my Ashwini or the Bharani Nakshatra, please go back and read that stuff. That will help you a lot. Okay. So Saturn has faced a lot of difficulties in childhood. He did not earn respect from both the parents. He had some or the other difficulty that he could not express himself, or he had not got enough emotional support. The keyword is not having enough emotional support. Okay. So because Saturn is a dry planet, not having enough emotional support. And you need a lot of pampering, care, etc. during the childhood. That will actually shape up your emotional quotient as you proceed in your life. Having Saturn in the first house will make you dry. Either you cannot understand what an emotion is, or you did not have enough people to teach what emotions can be. Okay. Or you faced a lot of criticism in life for anything. I mean, it could be because of the birth, due to a stepmotherly treatment from the mother, or it could be other conditions, being dull. Because Saturn in the Lagna, the person can pick up things a little late in life. So it can be due to dullness. However, I have also seen people who have Saturn in the Lagna, when they are aspected either by Mars or Sun or things like that, then these people are extremely courageous and extremely fast in life. So as Saturn has aspects being received from the Mars, or conjunctions from the Mars or Sun, will completely alter the result. You will get entirely a different result. Okay. So Mars aspecting Saturn, what happens? It will still make the person devoid of emotions, or it will still push the person into conditions where there is difficulty in the childhood. Okay. But later on, the person has achieved a lot of things because the Mars pushes the Saturn. Because what does Mars do? Mars is quick, right? Mars wants quick results. And he's very happy when Saturn-like planet is alongside him. He'll keep pushing the Saturn. Okay. Because Mars exalts in the place where Saturn is ruling, right? However, Saturn debilitates in the place where Mars is ruling. So when the Saturn and Mars conjunct, the Saturn goes a little down and the Mars goes a little high. So this is most of the times is advantageous for the person to push through the obstacles and keep moving. Okay. So now we are talking about Saturn in Lagna, assuming there are no aspects. Okay. So just be careful. You have Sun's aspect or Mars's aspect, because these two are planets which will get directional strength in the 10th house. And they are fire planets and they will push. Okay. Because these two planets are pushy. Right now, so okay, now hardships in the start of the career. So the person may face a lot of difficulties in finding a job, etc. Or he may be very afraid, will his job be there or not, etc. Okay. There is no recognition in the field of graduation. Maybe he must have done some graduation or some study. There is nothing much about that thing that he is working while he is at the office. His employment can be completely in a different field. Okay. However, how do you understand how the employment, etc., is there? You will always have to rely on the D10. This cannot be the factor. This can only be a factor to understand. Does the Saturn support the education that can be used to earn money tomorrow? Is what is only an indication for having Saturn in the Lagna. May not be the case, because Jupiter and Saturn are neutrals. Okay. Or Mercury and Saturn. Mercury is the sharper thing and Saturn is the duller thing, right? I mean, people may think Saturn and Mercury are friends, so they must be going well together. These are very, very kindergarten level understandings that Saturn and Mercury are friends. Mercury is the most sharpest person because he's a young kid, curious, he wants to learn everything. And he would be more successful at the office. Young people get because of their brilliance. And Saturn is like an old man. He would keep saying all the philosophy, look, I have worked all these 20, look, go and meet a person who is just retired or about to retire. He would keep talking that, look, I have done this, I have done that, this, that. Okay. He will keep praising himself for all that thing that he has done. I mean, I'm not trying to degrade anyone, or I'm not trying to show any of the elderly people in the bad light, but this is what people will become eventually with age, because they'll say, look, I have challenged that guy. Do you know this fellow? He's in the papers now. I have been challenging this guy all through my life. Okay. So these are such things which people keep saying as Saturn. Okay, so as the age, as the person ages, okay, that thing also can creep into the person when the person is around, or when the person that he's talking about is around, then he will keep his mouth shut. Once the person is off, then he will keep talking about him. Even Saturn can be of that kind of a person. Okay. Usually, Saturn does not like what the father does, so he will keep finding mistakes in what the father has done, or father has not supported enough while my mother was, doing something, or there is something wrong with the childhood that you will see with these people. Sacrificing self. Okay. Okay, what I have done here is I have made a list of what all can happen when Saturn is in the first house. So everybody knows that Saturn has two aspects, special aspects, the third house and the 10th house, and seventh house is the general aspect. So third house aspect will make the person, because third house is initiatives, and Mars actually rules there, or Mars is the significator of the third house. Third house, Mars is the significator, or Mars is the Karaka for the third house. Mars is the Bhuja or the Bhuja Bala, or the Bahubali thing, right? You have a bigger arms, or the kind of sports you would play, that will depend on your third house. So there, the aspect of Saturn, the third aspect of Saturn would say it will cool it down. Okay, so what does third house represent? The initiative. So I would, as I keep telling you always, if your third lord is very good, no matter how much ever the horoscope is bad, if your third lord is well placed, if your third lord is in good dignity, the advantage for such people is no matter how much the life goes upside down, uh, the person will take a lot of initiative, take everything into his own hands. He will, because third house is hands, he will feel responsible for whatever that has happened in his life. He will not blame others. He will try to correct his own self and then progress in life. It is very important that you have a very good third lord or very good third house. I repeat once again. So having a debilitated third lord does not mean it is a poor one. Okay, not necessarily, not every time. It can also mean having a third lord debilitation. I will teach you the lords and the positions as well, although I do not like to teach that because a lot of people have already taught those on the internet. I will still teach them for my thing. Otherwise, I'm feeling that I'm doing some injustice to people. I'll teach that as well. So just to give you a heads up, the third lord can, even if he is debilitated, it can make the person very humble. So having a third lord in debilitation is not a bad thing. Okay. So do not judge the planet's strength by exaltation or debilitation. Not necessarily it will work. Okay. So third aspect of Saturn will make the initiative colder. Okay. And the 10th aspect of Saturn will make karmic connections to that house. What does karmic connections mean is, it is neither positive nor negative. Never take karmic as something negative. No, it's not like that. Karmic is such a thing which you cannot escape. It will have both the positive and the negative effects. I'll tell you a simple example. For example, somebody has a sick father. Just for example, I'm saying, let God forbid, nobody should have a sick father. Somebody has a sick father, and that lays a foundation for the person to excel in life for whatever reason. Because the father is sick, the child feels that, look, let me settle down in life as fast as possible. Let me support my father. Had the father not been sick, what happens is, this person is a gem of a person. He would have got much better opportunities in life, and he would have progressed much higher in life. That is on the flip side. On the positive side is, because his father is sick, this person has actually established himself much better or much faster, and he wanted to support his family, and eventually that happened. Okay, so it is neither good nor bad. There will be both the things. A lot of people are thinking these days that karmic is a bad thing. Not necessarily. Karmic is something that cannot be escaped by the person, which carries both positive side and a flip side. I think this is the best example that I could figure out, frame, and give it to you. Okay. So Saturn, and also the wherever Saturn will be in 8th from a house, right? Saturn will always be 8th from any house. From wherever the Saturn is in the 8th, or rather from the Saturn, if you count 6 houses, that house will have a slow death. Okay, because or that will have a higher life. It will prolong. Okay. Anything, because if the usual saying is from wherever Saturn is in 8th, let us suppose Saturn is in the 8th house from Lagna. What people say, Dirghayu, right? That means long life. Same thing. So wherever Saturn is placed from 8th from that house, it is going to have Dirghayu or a slow death. It will take a lot of time. Okay. But for sure, everybody will be killed. So right now I'm taking the first house in the example. So sacrificing self, wherever Saturn is placed, just remember the Kurmavatara thing. Nobody recognized what Kurmavatara did for themselves. Okay. So nobody recognized what Kurmavatara did. Everybody started quarreling about the Amrita, and everybody started praising about Shiva. Nobody recognized what Saturn did. Okay. So now first house Saturn is sacrifices in life. The person will have to do a lot of sacrifices for himself, for his boss. Okay. Because the 10th karmic connection goes into the office, right? So because by karma, this person cannot escape office. Either there is a boss or the office itself that needs the support of the whole person. So the person sacrifices his life, his personal life, I don't know, maybe his own personal growth, etc. Because what happens is if you go to an office, what happens? You will work between 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever time. Usually people still do moonlighting or may not work all through. They'll do all sorts of stuff. But Saturn in the Lagna, the person thinks, I can't be doing any of this. Although it is 9 to 5 a responsibility, I will have to stand for all 24 hours. The person is mostly focused on job, okay, because Saturn is the karma karka, right? So sometimes he actually sacrifices himself, his own personal growth for the company. And the third house, he takes initiatives slowly or cold. However, do not forget, if the Saturn receives an aspect of Mars, then that this cold thing will not be there. Instead, it will exactly turn the opposite. It will be very fast and very aggressive. He wants the thing to happen overnight. Okay, now the third aspect of Saturn is completely changed. He will say, look, it has to happen overnight. I don't know. You have to do it right now. Okay, the cold thing will go. So you have to be careful when Saturn is there. When aspected by Mars or alongside Mars. Okay, because Saturn is being cold, the 7th aspect of Saturn or the house which from where the Saturn is in the 7th will be automatically hot because Saturn is very far off, right? So anything off the Saturn is hot. So that house is hot. So the person in the 7th house will have ego, or the person will, or the person's spouse will keep saying, why are you delaying these things so much? Please work harder, or please don't be cold. Okay, or there can be ego issues because 7th house from Saturn is like the sun, right? So the person may have ego, or the person has a very hot, I mean, hot in the sense, not the usual sexual terminology or nothing like that. Hot in the sense very, very aggressive. It can be aggressive, serious, opposite of the characteristics of what Saturn is. Saturn is a cold planet, doesn't act very fast. He needs time to act on things, but exactly opposite to it, the person can be very different. Or it can be emotional as well, because Saturn is very dry. The other side can be emotional as well. So this person does not have much of emotions, and on the other side, the wife or the husband has higher amount of emotions. Okay. Saturn in the 2nd house. So while the Amrita Manthana was being done, what all you can see is Shiva did drink the hala hala, that is the poison, because the second house is about eating, drinking, etc. And second house is about the face. Second house is about the family, the food, the speech, the luxury, and the responsibility. All of these things come from the second house. So Saturn in the second house, because the face represents the second house. Saturn in the second house, either the person has some dark spots, patches, etc. on the face, and or he may look a lot older than what his real age is. Okay, sacrificing food for the family. Okay, what did Shiva do? Shiva ate the whole poison just to help people. Okay, so the same thing the person can do. So the person is trying to leave a lot of food for the family, or if he's a rich person, if there are leftovers at night, the person is trying to eat because he does not want his people to eat the leftovers. Okay, or if there is not enough food available in the home, then he's sacrificing a lot of food for his family. Okay, prosperity after a long wait, not following father's profession, and efforts unrecognized by family, because Saturn is unrecognized. So wherever your Saturn is, there people do not recognize you much. So what is unrecognized is the efforts that you are putting into the family. Okay. However, the person keeps sacrificing himself for the family because of the second house Saturn. Right? Sacrificing food, sacrificing expensive clothes, sacrificing some inheritance share from it. Okay. And because of the third house aspect on the fourth house, it will take a long time for these people to find a home. Okay. Either they are unhappy with whatever homes or lands that they are seeing, or there is a lot of conditions for them depending on where the Saturn is. If the Saturn is in a very cold place like Aquarius or Libra, etc., they have a lot of requirements for the person, for the home to fulfill, and then only they will take that home, because the list of requirements are too many. Okay. And the seventh aspect will be falling on the eighth house. So the person is highly interested in occult. Okay. Or the in-laws of this person are very hot, serious, egoistic, or extremely successful as well, because hot people or people who do things in time are most likely to be successful early in life. Okay. Saturn is also successful, but late in life. Okay. Then is the seventh house, because from the seventh house, the Saturn will be in the eighth house. So difficult to enjoy wife's love, partners ditching the native, delayed success in business. These are those things that you can feel from the Saturn being in the second due to the seventh house thing. And also Saturn looks at the 11th house being in the second house. The karmic connection is on to the 11th house. So by karma, these people are connected to elder siblings, friends, or spouses of their children. Okay. Saturn in the third house, you can see the siblings of Saturn. Saturn, I mean, the siblings of Saturn are Yami, Yama, and the Rudra. Rudra is for the avatara that I've talked about, Kurma avatara. Okay, because Rudra ate the poison, right? So third house usually stands for the abhagya, right? Anything where luck does not, the person does not regard luck at all, because third house is hands. Whatever is in my hands, how can luck play a role there? So the person feels this is not connected to luck. It is my effort. That is the third house. So initiatives for work, atheism, not believing in God, that comes from the third house. Okay, online things, or the logical thinking, not believing in the God in the sense, not believing miracles, not believing, whatever does not come into the logic. Okay. And then third house will also work on communication, being the eldest of or siblings, having step siblings, unable to help father. So this person may be working, maybe trying to be the eldest of all the siblings, or having some step siblings and unable to help the father. These are those three things that you can find from here, Saturn in the third house. So delay in taking initiatives or showing the talent to the world, right? Because Saturn being in the third house delays the initiatives. So the person it takes a long time for him to realize that, look, I have to act upon these things. And it takes a long time for him. Okay. Sometimes a few things go away that they are incorrect, they cannot be corrected anymore, right? And he will keep helping the siblings, the step siblings, etc. But the effort goes a little unrecognized by the siblings, or they will recognize very late in life. Okay. Saturn aspects the fifth house. Fifth house is generally ruled by the sun, and there the fire planets go very well. The expectation is you should have fire planets there, like the sun, the Mars, at least the Jupiter, etc. Right? So fifth house, the Saturn being aspecting there may drive into laziness. And fifth house is delivering promises on time, and it will take a lot of time for people to actually deliver promises if you have third house Saturn, because initiative is not there. They will promise easily, but delivering that promise is very difficult. I remember example, there's a guy who's a Purohit. He would say, look, I will come tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, is what they would say. The Purohit will say and try to establish a time for a puja to be done. I saw this horoscope long back. So his basic challenge is he's not able to go on time due to laziness. Okay, so not able to follow time because sun also represents the time. And ill health for kids, slow in working. These are because, see, Saturn is a planet who will try to oppose all that sun rules. Sun is responsible for producing children. Sun is responsible for high creativity, right? If you're very creative in your ideas, it means that your sun is very good. No matter your sun is in debilitation here in D1, in D10, in D9, wherever it is debilitated, the best thing to understand, are you having a good sun or not, is if you have highly creative ideas, then your sun is very good. And Saturn is an opposite planet to it, and Saturn does not like what the sun does. So wherever Saturn is there, Saturn will always try to obstruct what sun will do. Sun is a karaka for children. Because the fifth house aspect is there, Saturn will do all the efforts to stop producing children or delay in having children. Okay. This will be there. However, you have to look at the D7. You have to look at the other rules that I have told for childlessness. Then only you can say. You can never say, okay, I have got third house Saturn, so will I not have children? No, it is not like that. When you have the D7 issues and the D9 issues and the nakshatra level issues of the children, because Saturn is a planet that tries to oppose whatever sun does. Sun is responsible for career and fast establishment of career. Soon after learning or soon after education, a person has to find a job. Saturn will try to delay that as well. Saturn will say, look, this is not a perfect job for you. Why not look for a perfect one? Okay. This is the problem with Saturn. Saturn is trying to get perfection everywhere. And to be very frank, there is nothing called perfect in this world, because the whole world itself is imperfect. That is what the sun says. Start somewhere, keep glowing, keep glowing and glowing and glowing and glowing. You will understand how much to glow. Okay. But Saturn would say, let me be cold, I'll still find jobs. And most of the times it will take a lot of time for Saturn to establish himself, right? So laziness, and also sun rules not being lazy. Sun always turns up the same time at the promised time. You will know when is the sun going to rise every day. At every point in place, you know when the sun is going to rise. So Saturn exactly opposites that. So it will try to push in laziness. It will also try to affect the kids. Okay. However, if the kids are not affected, due to many things, because if the fifth house is aspected by Jupiter, it should not be, I mean, you should not have Jupiter in the fifth house, but fifth house should be aspected. That means having a Jupiter either in the first house or in the ninth house will protect that house. Having a Jupiter, it may not still protect. Okay, this is based on my experience. Okay, however, D7 is the last say. Without looking at D7, you cannot confirm that. Okay, so if you have kids, there can be issues with kids having ill health every now and then. Okay, somehow or the other thing happens to the kids. You keep running for them and all that stuff, right? Then you have the ninth house thing. The third house Saturn aspects the ninth house. So the father is a strict person, very hot person, successful in the early age, because Sun promotes early age success, right? So anything opposing Saturn will promote an early age success usually. Okay. However, you have to see the other charts like the D9 or the D12, etc. for father to. You have to understand your father. You look at your D9 and your D12 charts. Both charts are important because D12 talks about the parents. Eighth house thing, difficult to enjoy comforts from inheritance. So if your Saturn is in the third house, the other biggest challenge is most of the times it becomes very difficult for the person to stop stop the sale of their inherited land or etc. It becomes so that they'll be forced to sell off their land most times. If it is very strong Saturn, then it is more inevitable. If you have a weak Saturn, it is good. Okay. However, how do you know if it will be sold or not? You have to look at your D4, the Chaturthamsha chart, without which you cannot say that. Okay. And also see lands, etc. will be dependent on your Shravana nakshatra, because Shravana is where the Mahabali was there and Mahabali lost all the land to Vishnu. Okay, so your Shravana, etc. also should be visible there, or the Capricorn also will be visible somehow when the inheritance is going off, right? Connected by karma to expenditure. So there is a lot of bad expenditure due to bad habits or hospitals or unnecessary expenditure that you cannot control. Actually, the person is not spending it on himself, but there are some or the other things that is coming up. You take all the 12th house things. 12th house things are expenditure due to hospitals, due to bad habits, because it's the Saturn aspect, and the third house also shows initiatives or bad habits. Okay. However, bad habits like alcohol, etc., you have to confirm it from the D9, wherein the Saturn Rahu will aspect the seventh house, at least from the Dasha Lord. Okay, whichever Dasha you're running. From there, if the Saturn and the Rahu are in the seventh from it, it means that there is an alcohol addiction or some other drug addiction, depending on where those Saturn and Rahu are. I'm keeping on increasing a dose a little bit, giving tidbits here and there so that you will keep researching on them. However, please do not jump with just one thing in. When I keep saying these things, right? These are like tidbits. You have to confirm it from 3-4 places. That is when you can say, look, there is some, as I said, about the indulgence into alcohol or other things. Please don't jump over and say, look, I have Saturn and Rahu in the seventh house. I do not have anything. It can so happen also. However, confirmations have to be taken from 3-4 places, not just from one. Saturn in the fourth house, the mother thing. So fourth house rules with the mother, Fourth house also rules the extended family. The stepmotherly thing that the Saturn had can be a possibility. Or there is extreme relationships with the mother. Either the person likes the mother very much, very attached to the mother, or very detached to the mother. Very attached to the place that he is born, or he is not able to live in a place where he is born. He's gone out of it. Okay, or not able to find settlement, because fourth house indicates, are you able to settle down in life early or not? If your fourth house or fourth lord, all that stuff is badly placed, then it becomes difficult for the person to settle down. And he keeps constantly traveling. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Okay, there are a few people in the world who do not want to settle. They want to constantly travel the world. So they have a poor fourth house. Their choice is that. Okay. So do not, do not be stereotyping things. Okay. The problem with astrology is you cannot stereotype. If you're stereotyping and saying, look, the fourth lord is badly placed, this person has a bad home thing. No, his choice is he doesn't want to buy a home or he doesn't want to stay at a place. That's his choice these days. People want to live in San Francisco for a few years, want to live in Bombay for a few years, then go to Russia for a few years. Yes, there are possibilities, like, right? Why are you degrading him and saying, look, this guy is not settling down, right? So no recognition. Fourth house is extended family. Okay. So the person tries to help cousins, person tries to help all those people who are related to mother by, the cousins of the first cousins due to mother or even father. Such people do not recognize the native's efforts, but they keep receiving constant blame. Or, look, you have helped him, why not me? There's a comparison thing wherever Saturn is, because nobody recognizes the effort of what the Kurma Avatara did, right? They still were kept on quarreling. Once the Amrita came, what did the Suras and the Asuras did? They were quarreling with each other, and that's when the Avatara is over, the Kurma Avatara is over, and he came as Mohini, right? So again, he came out for solving using deceit, right? So the sixth thing, the third aspect goes into the sixth house. Poor initiatives to make money. The problem with the fourth house Saturn is he does not know how to make money. He is always focused on those things where money is not coming. He's wasting time where money is not coming and is not taking those actions where money will come from. So one has to correct from this thing also. So somebody says, look, somehow I'm not being able to successful. If you have fourth house thing, then maybe even if the fourth house Saturn is exalted, the more the problem will be when you have more of the power in the Saturn, especially for the Tamasika planets. When they are exalted, don't think they are very good. Okay. The expectation is, I'll tell you when I'm teaching the strengths of the planets, the expectation is the Tamasika planets should have lower strength and the Satvika planets should have higher strength. This is the expectation from Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. Because if the Tamasika planets are very strong, they are going to give you Tamasic results. So don't be clapping hands for those planets which are in exaltation, especially the Tamasika ones. Okay. I mean, you can still read this whole thing and you can still make out what I'm trying to say. I'm giving you these bits of thing just because it's important for you to understand. Merely just reading out the whole thing and going by, I do not do that. Okay. So the sixth house, the third house aspect onto the sixth house can also show slow spreading diseases. Okay, that takes like 10 years, 15 years of time for a disease to spread. Example is, there are a few diseases like the kidney failure. It will take at least 6 years, 7 years, 10 years for you to even realize that there is a problem. I mean, what happens is typically a 40-year-old or a 35-year-old gets diagnosed for a kidney problem, right? When you go to the doctor, he would say, look, this problem has been there for 10 years. You did not even realize that there is a problem. Okay, such is the thing, because Saturn is a very slow thing. And also the blood pressure, right? The increase or the decrease of blood pressure. Usually these days, let us suppose you take your parents or anyone for that matter to a hospital. They'll say, look, they would ask, what is the medical history? You would say, look, she or he has been never visited a doctor, nothing like that. Today, this morning, fell off. That's why I got her. They would say, look, the BP is around 200 off the roof. So they would say, no, never we had a problem. The doctor would immediately say, BP will take like 15 years or 12 years or 20 years for it to build. And it starts off from the 40th year. And your parent is like 60 years. So it took like 20 years. And silently it has been spreading, right? So these are those things responsible for Saturn. That is why usually people take for disease, Saturn is the Karaka. The reason is this, because when Parashara's time was running, there was only Jara and Marana. So Jara means the disease. Because of disease, people used to die. Otherwise, people will live long. So Saturn indicates old age, diseases, and death. These days, 30-year-old also has a disease, 20-year-old also has a disease, etc. All that. That was not there back then. Okay. I mean, I cannot explain what the logic is. I mean, if you try to pull me into the logic, I may still fail, but it was not there then. That much I'm sure. I don't know why it was. Okay. So the 7th aspect goes on to the 10th house, strict or a hot workplace. So the person actually faces tough conditions at the office. When you have 7th house Saturn, the other difficulty is the boss is hot. Okay. Or it also happens to be the 2nd house from the 9th house. So despite helping these extended family that the person is doing, still the extended family is not very happy. They're still fighting with the person. So 4th house Saturn is a lot of sacrifice for the people, because 4th house is public. So it can be your own public, or it can be the whole mankind. So the person gives away a lot of things for the public. The aspect on the from the 9th house, the Saturn falls in the 4th house. Saturn falls in the 8th house. So what happens is not able to stay with parents, 9th house to 8th house from there, or the person could not complete his graduation. Okay, or the person takes a long time to establish himself in the future, etc. 9th house as the Bhagya. It takes a long time for the person to establish his Bhagya, etc. Right? Or it takes a long time for his Bhagya to be over. Actually, the person enjoys a lot of comforts all through, because the Bhagya is slowly getting consumed. Right? Even that can also be shown through it. Okay. 10th house. 10th aspect goes on to the 1st house, connected by karma to hard work and poor reputation, because the ascendant receives the aspect of the 10th house. This person is constantly working very hard. Okay. Saturn in the 5th house, children, subordinates, love, promises, position, power, indication. Right. So kids or the subordinates do not recognize the hard work that the person is doing. Unable to deliver promises, the person will promise something and is not able to deliver it. He could be cheated in love, because Saturn is an old man and a little foolish person. He believes that his philosophies are only right and everybody else is following the wrong path. You talk to people who are older than 60, usually, I'm trying to generalize things. I'm not talking about those people who are very successful, even the very successful people as well. On a Gallup poll, if you see, the people who are old in age, they will keep saying, अरे उसको कुछ पता नहीं है, मैंने सब कुछ किया, इसको कुछ पता नहीं, मैंने सब कुछ किया. These are usual things people keep saying. They'll praise themselves, and they'll keep saying the other one was wrong, right? And it is easy actually to cheat such people. Older people are, when you praise them, right, they'll be very happy, and you can easily cheat them. Saturn likes praises, right? Old people, you go and praise them, sir, you are a great man, you have done that and this, and he would jo puchega var de denge, vardhan de dega. So whatever you ask for, he'll give it away immediately, right? The same thing. So you can be cheated in love. And long wait for position and power. There are several reasons why cheating in love can happen. However, that's not the only thing. You have 5th house Saturn, oh, this person is cheated in love. No, it's not. Please don't make decisions that fast. Cheating in love can only be confirmed through the Navamsha. Okay, you have to have combinations of the 6th house, 5th house, and also Rahu or Moon involvement should be there, right? And also the 3rd house involvement should also be there for getting cheated, etc. Okay. And long wait for position. Sun rules the position. The chair is in the 5th house. Sun rules, because we've talked about this in the Magha. It is the Simhasana. So Simhasana comes from the 5th house. that the sun rules. So somebody wants a position. He will take it to the fag and just one step below he will be at the position. Saturn will keep him there. Tadpayega usko. What is the right word for tadpana in English? Can somebody help me, please? उस्ताद नहीं है क्या आज? There's no उस्ताद today. यार तड़पाने का क्या इंग्लिश है? Okay, so he'll make the person wait long. Okay, he'll keep him torment. Yeah, torment somehow. Closes torment. Yeah. लेकिन तड़पाना जब कहेंगे तो ज्यादा effect आएगा, right? So the person will be tormented there, just one level below. For some reason, he will stay there for a long time. He'll ensure that he will not get that position. Okay. And so he remains the second guy or the person who is just behind the first person, because Saturn doesn't want to become the head. Saturn always wants to keep the person at the second level, not at the top level. And poor digestive system, sun rules the metabolism. Okay, although Mercury is also responsible. However, sun rules the whole metabolism because there is sunrise and sunset. That is why you are able to digest your food. If there is no sunset, sunrise happening, like you go to Norway or those places where the sun does not set or sun does not rise at all for days together, it becomes very difficult for people like us who live in India. The system who goes haywire. I mean, the metabolism is completely affected because there is no sunrise, not enough heat being produced inside. Right? So Saturn opposes the sun. Because sun rules the whole digestive system, he will try to corrupt that. Either there is a gastric or an ulcer. If the eighth house is also bad, like if your eighth house is also afflicted with either with Mars, Rahu, Sun, I don't know what else can be there. Those planets, then there can be issues of piles or digestive system problems or kidney issues. Even if your Venus is also poorly placed. So how do you confirm all these things? It will take some time. I'll teach you. Don't jump over. But these are those indicatives. These are those indications from where you can see, okay, there is a fifth, eighth, both are because eighth house is where the excrete goes out. Fifth house is where the digestion happens. Second house is from where you eat the food. 2, 5, and 8. If you see, all of them are in quadrants to each other. Okay. The native is happy to help subordinates despite facing hardships. Poor initiatives by the native and the family to get okay, this is one more thing. Fifth house Saturn, third aspects falls on the seventh house. So the initiatives are very poor by the person and the family to find alliances for marriage. Okay. If the Navamsha also is, Navamsha Lagna, seventh house aspected by the Saturn or having Saturn inside it, it becomes long wait for the person because there is no right person at home who can look alliances for him, and he depends on others. Okay. Seventh aspect falls on the 11th house. The siblings, the elder siblings are hot, or the daughter-in-laws or the son-in-laws are hot in the sense they're serious, settled early in life, or they are people who demand a lot of respect from the native, they're very strict, etc. All this, or he has some or the other issues with them, etc. Okay. And then sixth, Saturn, that is from the 10th house, this Saturn, which is in the fifth house, will be in the 8th house from the 10th house. So because it's in the 8th house from the 10th house, not enough recognition at the work, displeasure in the work, unable to enjoy the work, etc. These are those things that can come. And also the reputation at the work or the work is so high that the person has to deliver a lot of responsibilities also with the fifth house Saturn. There's enough work, not enough recognition, right? And the 10th aspect of the Saturn falls in the second house. it gets into a karmic connection to family, extended family. There's a lot of karmic connection onto the family and the extended family in the sense, although the person likes it, dislikes it, etc., he is bound to deliver duties for his family. Okay. Rahu, Ketu, Moon, Sun, these are all those the enemies of Saturn in the sixth house. Okay. Why Rahu, Ketu is because of the Kurma Avatara. Kurma Avatara's enemies were Rahu and Ketu for the Mohini, and Saturn's enemies are the Moon and the Sun. Okay. Delayed winning in life, because practice is the sixth house. Because the more that you're going to practice something, or the more regularity is your sixth house. Your sixth house is your discipline. Do not think sixth house is a bad house. The more discipline you have is based, the discipline that you have is based on your sixth house. Your sixth house is connected to your 10th house. It means that you are very regular, very, very regular person. Sixth house connected to second house, also very regular person. You want a very fixed time frame of the thing that has to run for you. You do not like, your sixth house deals your regularity. Okay, like the military discipline, right? I drink coffee at this time. I go to office at this time. There are fixed time for doing things, and people follow that routine. And that routine is ruled by Sun again. That's why you see sixth house as, usually people say Sun in the sixth house, Mars in the sixth house is very good, because the reason is fire planets will follow routine. Okay. However, as I keep saying, no planet placement is extremely good. No planet placement is extremely bad. Both will have the positives and the negatives. So the Saturn in the sixth house, the winning is delayed in life, and the initiatives are very slow, and the person is working very slowly, or he's trying to, get some perfection. He's working on that perfectionist. Okay, that actually tries to, delay things, because when you're trying to work over perfection, whenever Saturn aspects the sixth house also, you can see the person is trying to be overly perfect, because the routine is trying to be overly perfect, or the job is trying to do is overly perfect. That actually delays things. All right. However, he will still settle for some imperfection. This we have talked about in the Swati. The mantra itself is Asiddhir Avastat. So Saturn exalts that. He will try for perfection, but cannot achieve the full perfection. He will settle at somewhere 89, 90%, and he will live there. All right. Spread of diseases that are difficult to get detected, as we have talked about this. Overly doing physical work, delayed loan payments or interests, health, court cases, fighting strong enemies, winning and losing, temporary wins. These are those results that you will have from Saturn in the sixth house. Physical labor, delayed loan payments, big enemies, and no recognition. Okay. The third aspect of Saturn goes into the eighth house. Delayed inheritance. So acquisition of inheritance is delayed. It can be so that the father is also having a higher life because of the Saturn in the sixth house. Okay. And long-term illnesses, court cases, long life, right? And seventh aspect falls in the 12th house. So 12th house becomes hotter. 12th house becomes hotter. So a cold 12th house is what is expected. Cold 12th house what does it do? Because, when you're spending, right, you have to be careful while you're spending. You have to think over and then spend. But if you have Saturn in the sixth house, your spending is very fast. You take decisions of spending in a jiffy. You will try to spend money very fast, right? Or interests in isolation, or your money that you're spending is going waste. You're unnecessarily spending more than what is required. Slow spread of diseases that happens because from the 11th house, the Saturn is in the 8th house. So diseases can also be coming from the 11th house because it is like the 6th house from the 6th house. Slow spread of diseases, but free from diseases after long delay. 10th house, the 10th aspect of Saturn goes into the 3rd house. Karmic connections to siblings. What does karmic connections mean? Although you do not like or you like, you are bound to do the duty for your siblings. And sometimes it brings in joy, and sometimes you feel for, why this has happened. Like I gave you at the start of the example, if your father is ill, please go back and read. I'm seeing a few people just reading wherever Saturn is there for them. And sometimes what happens is they miss the whole introduction part. At least read a few houses, or it is advised to read the whole thing. Okay. So Saturn in the 7th house, the spouse is a cold woman, and the person himself or herself is a hot person. Okay. Or the spouse is not recognizing the work done by the native, or the spouse is deceased. Okay. However, deceased and long lived, or a quarrelsome person. But usually divorce does not come with the Saturn in the 7th house. Usually. Okay. When I use the term usually, it means that it's not usually, right? So it can depend. Saturn is not the planet which is going to judge. A lot of people are, and I have heard two versions from the internet. Some people said because of the Saturn, the divorce came, and some people said because of the Saturn, they are together. Saturn tries to delay things. Okay, so even if there is a divorce requirement, they'll drag it for long, like Mercury also, right? Because they are the neuters. They're not going to take the decision that faster. Neuters don't take it. So they drag. The decision will not come for a long time if they go for divorce also. Or they have issues, it takes a long time for them to reconcile. They'll keep blaming each other. Okay. Saturn in the first house, the 7th house in the Saturn, emotional level differences. The usual complaint is because, look, this happens most of the times when you have Saturn either in the first house or in the 7th house, is that because Saturn is a dry planet. The opposite person keeps complaining, look, I keep working for her all through, but she does not recognize that it is for the family that I'm trying to do all this work. She keeps saying, why don't you show up at home on time? Everybody else comes home, by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. You are the only person who keeps coming home very late. You're not very concerned about what we are doing at home, etc. All that. Okay. So this can happen. Then as third house aspect falls on the 9th house. Poor initiatives for the future, or the father is unsuccessful because of poor initiatives in the life. Slow decision making of spouse or self that is affecting the future. Okay. 7th aspect of Saturn falls on the 1st house. So hot self, that means the person is very strict with the spouse. Okay. Poor emotional balance between the partners. So as I said, when the Saturn is in the 7th house, the 1st house has more water and the 7th house has no water. There's a difference in the emotion. Right. Fourth, so from the 7th house, the 10th aspect falls on the 4th house. So karmic connection with the mother, motherland, or extended family. All right. Saturn in the 8th house. So 8th house, I'm going straight into the stuff. So 8th house, diseased in-laws or cold in-laws. I can give you an example. Okay, why example? I think this itself is enough. So the in-laws are deceased. Yeah, this is the male horoscope. In-laws are deceased, but still the responsibility came onto this person, this male person, because usually the expectation in Indian families is that whoever has the male child, the parents will go there. But the in-laws thing also came upon this fellow's shoulders. Okay. Or they are very cold in-laws. They don't understand the work the person is actually doing to support them. Okay. Their responsibility due to disease or death of sons, long life for father. Okay. And delayed inheritance. And you can see fewer initiatives to find or sustain a job, slow settlement in life, leaving job after middle age. This is what you can expect from the 8th house Saturn. What a lot of people think is, they talk about their 10th house. I get a lot of requests in the comment section of the YouTube. People say, my 10th lord is here, my 4th lord is there. You tell me what happens to my job. See, unless somebody sees the whole horoscope, it is impossible. If somebody is saying just by looking at one planet, okay, aapko agle saal job aa jayega, I don't think they will work, because they will fail. They're bound to fail. Okay. So I'm not such a kind of a person who can give just by looking at one planet, because I'm very afraid that I will fail. Okay. So this, the fact is, despite the thing that we try to give predictions, if we give 100 predictions, if 90 work right, that is more than enough. So for you to get that 90 mark thing, you have to be very, very careful. You cannot speculate. I mean, I see a lot of people, you know, answering in the forums, writing 250 predictions. Somebody is asking a question, so he will write 250 predictions, and the reply comes, your first point, fourth point, 10th point, and 250th point is matching. None of them are, none of the others are matching. So he will say, look, I have given you four predictions which are matching. See, astrology is not speculation. Although I will not completely negate it, you can't be speculating so much. Okay, it is, you need to give specific predictions and specific remedies for people. It doesn't otherwise work. And it doesn't take, the only thing is you need enough of your 6th house. You have to use your 6th house well. You have to use your 3rd house well. You have to practice. There is no other way you can get it. There's no shortcut for this. Okay, all right. So the third aspect goes on to the 10th house. So the person, if has 8th house Saturn, there can be initiative problem to find a job. Okay. Slow settlement in life. The first half, he would keep thinking, let us suppose the fellow finishes graduation at 21. Till 28, 29, he will keep thinking, should I join that job or this job? Or he'll keep overrating himself and saying, look, why should I join that job? That is a very small job. Let me work on a different job. You know, मेरे को वो मिल जाएगा, ये मिल जाएगा, GM मिल जाएगा, PM मिल जाएगा, नहीं मिलेगा. Okay, because a 21-year-old kid cannot have a GM. Okay, it's a simple logic. Then he will say, look, this fellow who is just out of the college got a job in Google with 2 crore package. See, there are exceptions in life. So the generic feeling is it cannot happen like that. Correct? So, all right. Now the hot family, hot speech, good income for father, but more expenditure, waste of time in establishing career, bad reputation in the initial days of career, no recognition for the work done, because the 8th house Saturn will actually have the first thing. I mean, first house thing. First house deals with the recognition. And one more important prediction for 8th house Saturn is the 10th house aspect falls on the 5th house. So on the account of children, now again children came in, right? So it falls on the 5th house. Unless Jupiter aspects this house, it becomes extremely difficult for the person to have children. Okay, now you have to always see the D7 chart for confirmation. So having 8th house Saturn can also say that you live longer is just not that. I mean, it doesn't end there. Why do you live longer is because after you live, there is nobody else to live. Because what happens is, why are you giving birth to kids? Because you cannot live. You're trying to leave a pratirupa of yours or an image of yours on the earth once again. Okay. So 8th house Saturn may disrupt that because the 10th house aspect falls on the 5th house. Or you have children because of the Jupiter's aspect or Sun's aspect. Sun can be watching from the 11th house. If that happens, then also that can be protected sometimes. However, how do you know if there are children or not? You have to look at the D7 chart. There's no shortcut for it. Please use the D7 chart to declare whether the person has kids or not. Okay. If the Jupiter is also, what happens is, I'll give you an example. Vrishchika Lagna, the Scorpio is the Lagna. Fifth house, own house. Fifth house is Jupiterian sign, Pisces. There is Jupiter. Okay. If you don't see the Saturn in the eighth house, right, what you will think is, oh wow, own house, Jupiter, he should definitely have kids. There is definitely no chance of kids if there is a Saturn in the eighth house. Okay. Especially when Jupiter is placed in the fifth house, because Jupiter is also aspected by the Saturn, who is the Putrakaraka. So the fifth house is aspected, dispositor is aspected, everything is aspected by Saturn now. Saturn will say, look, I am against Sun. I will not allow you to give you children. Okay. And Jupiter is the first person to give up a fight. Jupiter is not going to put up a fight and say, look, I'm going to give the children. No. Jupiter will say, I'll stop. Okay, Saturn doesn't like it. Let me not do the job. However, please look at the D7. Because the remedy has to be given only from the D1, these aspects and things are extremely important. That's why I'm teaching you this. Now you will have to find out, okay, this is the combination. Is there a way, can I give a remedy or not? Okay, or may I have to tell them only adoption? In this case, because the Jupiter is also afflicted in the Revati nakshatra. If you read Revati, it will have the Pushno Revati Gavaha Parastat Vatsa Avastat. Vatsa means the child. So Jupiter is in the child thing, and because of this, the person is crying for a child, right? I hope people are making some sense. If you're not, then you have to watch the Nakshatras videos and come back. If you're very new to the class, then it will go bonkers, okay? So you have to be a little patient. I'm trying to give the best of the thing that I know. I'm not trying to hide any information. All that I know, I'm trying to teach. So Saturn in the ninth house, everybody knows it rules the father, the boss, and the fortune. So who's the father of Saturn? Father of Saturn is Sun. The boss is the Venus, right? Saturn keeps Venus in the forefront, and tries to fight Sun, right? So he keeps Venus to fight Sun. So what does the ninth house talk about? It rules the rules, protocols, dharma, the luck, the guru, the bosses, the mentors, raising the bar high, higher education, traveling jobs, fortune, future, long distance traveling, and growth. Okay. Father or guru do not recognize the native's hard work or efforts. There is a delayed fortune, obviously expected. Emotional issues with the father-in-law, or gurus. Elderly people in the family also may not recognize this person's efforts. Not being recognized, or they will think that, look, this person is not a good boy. Let me not help him. Okay. So third aspect of Saturn falls on the 11th house. There is a poor initiatives to make friends. He seldom makes friends. Doesn't like making many friends. Aspect of Saturn on the 11th house you would have very few friends. 11th house, or if the 5th house is ruled by Saturn, or the 11th house ruled by Saturn also, or the 11th house has the Saturn aspect, then also you will have less friends, because elderly people do not make many friends. Because the problem with these people as I said, elderly, because they'll keep praising themselves, it is difficult to actually make friends, right? Poor relations with elder siblings or friends. And seventh aspect falls on the third house. The siblings are hot, and most of the times, these people's lives are driven by their decisions, the siblings' decisions. Due to the sibling, the person is actually living a different life. Okay. And not enjoying comfort from family, parents, or poor income for father. Okay. Because of the second house. From the second house, the Saturn in the ninth house will be in the eighth house. Okay. So the person's father had a bad income, okay, during the childhood, right? Karmic connections with mother siblings or undetectable diseases due to the sixth aspect. I mean, the 10th aspect on the sixth house. Saturn in the 10th house, because the Kurma Avatara has put up a lot of patience and endurance at work, and he has led the people from the back. Okay, and he needed a long time, because first the Halahal came, all the Halahal actually, burnt up the Kurma Avatara. Nobody recognized that. I have explained this in the last week. Amrita came and everybody praised Shiva for consuming the Halahala, but the Kurma Avatara got completely burnt. Okay, so it needs a lot of patience. Saturn in the 10th house, you need a lot of patience. Automatically, you'll become patient with the Saturn in the 10th house. It is actually a welcome. Most of the times, wherever Saturn is placed, it's also a welcome thing, because Saturn compromises for time. It will say, look, I need the perfection. Let me wait, because I know perfection takes time. Let me wait. Okay. This can sometimes be good, and equally it will be bad also. Okay. So, I mean, never ask, because a lot of people are putting comments and saying, look, I have Saturn here. Is this a good one? It doesn't work like that. I mean, I only can laugh at such comments, but I respect everybody's feelings and things like that. So I don't write any harsh thing on the net usually. But it doesn't specifically work like that. I mean, any planet, any position will deliver both good and bad. It is just the nature of that house and nature of the planet. It will have effects of positive and negative, both the things. Okay. Working behind the screen, not recognized well by others, unrecognized work, like the technicians, right? Saturn people are like the technicians. They'll keep working. When the boss needs them, they'll keep working, but not much of credit goes to them, right? Poor initiatives to spending. 10th house Saturn, the third aspect goes on to it. This is a good thing, because they do not like to spend much. However, Saturn's aspect can also drive wherein, wastage of money. So if they're spending, sometimes it goes into a waste. It was an unnecessary money spending, or spending on court cases, or having a poor bedroom life, because he's very occupied at the office. Seventh aspect, I mean, this is I should write this as Saturn. Seventh aspect of Saturn falls on the fourth house. So hot-headed mother, ego issues with the mother, okay, or not able to work from the home that he wants to work. Such are those things that you can look at. Okay, usually because the fourth house represents the mother, and Saturn has issues with the fourth thing or the mother thing, he will usually afflict the mother. So there is issues of ego with the mother that can be possible. But how do you confirm those things? You can't be saying, okay, 10th house Saturn, for sure there will be an ego issue with the mother. No, you have to look at the D9 as well, also the D12 as well. Both the things will help you understand that. We'll come to all of those things. I mean, you can't learn all of them in overnight. You need patience. Unable to take initiatives, okay, and in life, being cold at work. Work needs hard work than smartness. I forgot to write the 10th aspect here. The 10th aspect of Saturn falls on the 7th house. So a big karmic connection with the wife, okay, or the business partners. So he may think that the wife or the business partners are not helping him much, but still he has to progress in life. So he will compromise and work. But after some work is achieved, they will actually appreciate him also. Okay. So karmic connections are always both the ways. Okay. Now the 11th house. So what happens is, after the Manthan was over, after the churning of the ocean was over, there came the final thing that came out, that is the Lakshmi and the Amrita. And Amrita was distributed by the Mohini. So Mohini wanted to cheat these Rakshasas because they don't deserve to drink the nectar, right? Nectar means the Amrita. So only the Suras deserve nectar. And the Mohini had to betray them for a reason, because they are Rakshasas and they don't have a control over their senses, right? Because they are bad people. So we are looking at it from an astrological point of view. So now you can still be calling yourself as a Rakshasa also, and look at it from the Rakshasa standpoint. Okay. So Mohini cheated them, right? So Saturn in the 11th house, either you're cheated or you are a cheater yourself, or you're fighting for resources, because Amrita came out and everybody started quarreling between each other. They said, look, I will drink the nectar first and I will drink the nectar first. Everybody was standing up in a line. Mohini came out and he used the, what is it called? Illusion. And he tried to give the nectar away only to the gods. Elder siblings, friends not recognizing the native sacrifices, and working for elder siblings, friends, or cousins, right? Poor initiatives for self-improvement, because the third aspect falls on the first house. And the seventh aspect falls on the fifth house. Hot children or successful. Okay. Because the fifth house is hot, usually 11th house Saturn usually will have children. Because for children to have, you have to have children, you need the hotness. But if the Rashi as well is a very hot Rashi, like the Aries or the Leo or the Sagittarius, then there is overheat. Okay, then also there can be problems of the generation of egg, right? You need, just look at the, what is that called? Incubation of an egg. There will be incubators, artificial incubators, where you can incubate an egg. Just look at how it works. Or look at a hen. How does it incubate an egg? After it delivering the egg, if it has to make a chicken out of it, or the chick out of it, then it tries to, protect the egg through the wings. It will deliver a lot of warmth, and it will try to keep it for 21 days, I believe. That is the gestation period for the egg to become the chick. So, you need a specific temperature for the fifth house to deliver kids. Overheat is bad. Over cold is also bad. You need, summer or the balanced heat there. Okay. So usual thing is, it is good to have the 11th house Saturn for the children, usually. Okay. But the final thing comes when the D7 is looked at. Okay. The fourth thing, okay, 11th house Saturn, the other thing is finding a home will be very, very difficult. Only at the last junction of the life, people can find a home. I mean, a lot of people will be wondering, my fourth house is very good and all that stuff. Having Saturn in the 11th house will make the person not able to settle very early, or finding a place to settle down will take a lot of time, or finding a home of his choice or his liking will take a lot of time. Okay. Or he's not able to move away from the homeland to actually, pursue his future abroad, etc., or in a different city. Okay. And then the 10th aspect falls on the inheritance. Okay. So there is inheritance, but it is karmic. So there is something, something comes up along with the inheritance. Okay. Or the in-laws that you have are karmic, wherein either you like them or not like them, they are there, so that you have to support them and they also will support you in return. All right. Saturn in the 12th house. Saturn in the 12th house, spirituality, boredom, donations of Mohini. Unwilling to spend on good accounts, long life generally, wastage of money. Wherever Saturn goes in, right, when connected to 12th house, usually person spends the money, but the result will not come. The money will go wasted. Okay, it will take a long time for the person to realize, why am I unnecessarily wasting money? Or this person does not enjoy comforts. Instead, he will try to give away the money to somebody else, and they will keep enjoying on his name. Even that is possible. However, wherever Mars or Sun either aspects the Saturn or conjoins the Saturn, the results will completely change. Okay. Unwilling to spend on good accounts, or it will take a lot of time for the person to spend or take a decision on spending. But if you have Mars conjoined or Sun conjoined, the decision to spending will be very quick. Okay, it will be completely different. Responsible for expenses, fights with partners on distribution of shares. Okay, because the 12th house Saturn is like while donating, the Mohini was donating the Amrita, the Asuras were fighting with the Mohini. They were continuously asking, why not us the first? Okay. So there is constant struggle for it on the shares. Father's money is wasted. Poor career of the father or the sick father. Okay. And then because it also aspects the 9th house, being in the 12th house, Saturn also aspects the 9th house and the 2nd house. So 2nd house is the 6th from the 9th house. So it aspects the 9th house. So father can be sick, or father can be old, or father can be, karmic. And the earnings for the father can be also low, or poor initiatives being taken by the father. All that you can add up. Okay. Depending on the situation and the kind of combinations that you will see, you have to quickly. Saturn is a little difficult planet to understand. It will take some time to sink in. I would recommend, please read this once, twice, thrice. Try to have as many horoscopes in front of you as possible. You will be able to understand a few things. Then leave this, come back after 6 months or 7 months, read it once again. Keep looking for more horoscopes. Okay. And then the 7th aspect falls on the 6th house. The mother's siblings are hot or successful. Slowly they'll rise up in life, or even fast. I mean, I think it should be fast here because it's a hot thing. They will rise up in life very early. And unless the 5th is aspected by Jupiter, the person may not have children once again, because the 8th house, from the 5th house, it's in the 8th house, the Saturn. Now, again, it's the same problem. Saturn doesn't want to deliver those results of the 5th house. So it will ensure, if there is a Jupiter or a Sun inside the 5th house, it is more likely that the person may not have children. If they are in either in exaltation or in own signs, then there is more problem. Okay, not having children. However, D7 is very, very important. That is where you will finally tell whether the children are there or not. 10th aspect falls on the 9th house. There is a karmic relationship with father and the boss. Okay. So whoever comes up, there is a karmic relationship, in the sense, as I said, in the first level. So you cannot get out of it. Somehow you have to still support them, and they will also support you, but that is a very karmic thing. It will be a very turbulent phase all through. Okay. That's all for the 12 houses Saturn. Anybody has any questions? First thing is, I want to ask people, was it a lecture that you could follow, or was it very difficult to follow?
We could able to follow, sir. No issues.
Okay, good. You have a question?
Sir, what about retro Saturn? Retrogradation of planet.
I will teach retrogression. Wait for it. But you can assume that the magnitude will be a little higher, because retrograde planets will deliver results with higher magnitude. I've muted you up. If you want, you can talk once again. There's a lot of disturbance from your side. Open up your mic and you can still talk if you want.
Retrogression of malefic planet and retrogression of
I'll teach
benefic.
retrogression also.
Yeah, right, sir. Okay, no issues. No doubts further, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, when we say Saturn's third aspect on a house, 10th aspect on a house, versus Saturn sitting with that planet, which rules third house, 7th house, and 10th house, how will that work, sir?
I said, right? third house aspect of Saturn will delay the initiative because third house is on the initiative. 10th house aspect will bring in karmic relationship that you cannot avoid. You're bound to do that. Either you like it, do not like it, you're bound to do it. Now you said association. Association is a different thing. It depends on the planet that is being associated by its natural significance and also by its lordship. Both will give separate results.
Okay, sir.
Conjunctions I'll teach you. I'm not actually interested in generalizing most of those things, because if I try to teach conjunctions, it will look like a BNN class. What happens with such classes is people forget all that Lagna thing because it's a tedious thing to remember. People will just remember, okay, Mercury and Saturn are together, Manda Buddhi hoga. It doesn't work like that. Okay. All right.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Saturn, wherever it sits, it damages more wherever it sits, or its Saturn's aspect is more dangerous.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. It can be depending on the house. That's why I gave you each house thing. There are
Okay.
mixed opinions on this. You cannot generalize. You have to look at the whole
Okay.
horoscope.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, I have a few questions which are not related to Saturn.
Okay. Okay. Ask me, what is it?
Okay. So one thing is for Kritika Nakshatra, if Kritika, if the dispositor of the seventh house is in Kritika Nakshatra, but there are no planets in the seventh house.
Beta, you
Will,
have to start with what Lagna it is, right?
yeah,
What Lagna is it?
it's a Capricorn, yes, sir. Just a second.
Why do you forget charts?
Yes, sir.
If you read a
Yes.
chart, it should be there all through your life. You can't forget. Cannot
Yes,
afford
sir.
to forget.
Yes, sir. Capricorn Lagna.
Okay. Capricorn Lagna. Okay. So
Yeah.
seventh lord dispositor is in Kritika.
Yes, seventh lord dispositor. Moon is in Kritika, sir.
Okay.
But dispositor of moon is in Punarvasu.
Okay.
So will we take Kritika to be more prominent, or will we take Punarvasu?
What a foolish question is this, ma? See, for the seventh house, your Punarvasu is to be looked at. Are there any planets in the seventh house?
No, sir. None.
Okay. So moon is not carrying so much of energy. So Kritika is a little one step lower than the Punarvasu.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
And sir, for the same chart, like I was looking for the combinations that you gave for marriage not happening. So, as you said, the fifth and ninth lords association with
No. Okay. Either of the fifth or the ninth association with the seventh
with the
lord.
seventh house.
Hmm.
Sir, in this case, if both the fifth and the ninth lord aspect the seventh lord, not the
Even
seventh
that is,
house.
yes, seventh house or lord, both are the same.
Yeah. So, will it work, sir?
Yes, it will work.
Okay. Okay,
The
sir.
only thing that you have to look at is in the Navamsha, you should have either the 8th or the 6th connections to the Lagna or the 12th connections to the Lagna. What will that make is the person is not interested in getting married.
No, sir. Here the person is interested in getting married, but he's
Then
not.
in that case, the Lagna will be okay. The Lagna Lord, everything will be
Yes,
okay.
yes. Lagna and Lagna Lord is okay, sir. But the connection is same in the D1 also, in D9 also.
It
Like
means that he is not able to settle in life, or some or the other thing is actually stopping him from getting married.
yes. So, like brahmacharya, can we consider this chant under that, sir?
Yes, you can consider, but also look at the timing of marriage rules that I gave.
Okay, fine.
Because if your ninth house gets connected to Purva Phalguni, there can be delay in marriage. Or seventh house dispositor gets connected to Purva Phalguni, then also it will have delay in marriage. So if that is the case, then this may still be there. And at last, the person may fall in love and get married. Look at the Navamsha Lagna. How is the Navamsha Lagna? That is very, very important.
Navamsha Lagna is Pisces with Jupiter in Lagna, sir.
How sure are you it is the Lagna? Because most of the times, Navamsha changes in less than 5 minutes. So you have to be 100% sure with that. Okay, I'll give you I'll teach you those traits, but because you've asked, I'll tell you what is the Pisces. Pisces is something which is liking isolation in the Navamsa. So not many people are there alongside him. He likes to be in isolation, not too many friends, interested in Vedas or scriptures or things like that, because Jupiter is there. Is there such kind of a thing? Orthodoxity,
Yes,
japa, tapa.
not Japa Tapa, but he is an Orthodox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isolation.
Yeah, he's only like into work and homework.
And लोगों से suddenly बात बंद कर देना, मानो कुछ हुआ तो he will say, "Look, I'll not talk to you," because it's Pisces, that is where the Mercury debilitates, right? The first thing he'll say is, मैं आपसे बात करना बंद कर दूंगा, बात बंद कर देगा. He'll suddenly stop talking. चिढ़ आएगा उसको, suddenly चिढ़ जाता है, चिढ़ आता है. I don't know what is it, चिढ़ in English.
I understood, but
है वो characteristics, they have to match,
वाला
otherwise your thing will go for
ये
a
वाला
6.
कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स नहीं पता सर, ये वो चिढ़ने वाला है, रेस्ट तो मैच है. लाइक ही इज इनटू वर्क एंड हाउस, बस दो ही चीज है, घर और काम.
हाँ, ओके ओके. पूछ के देखो, किसी से दुश्मनी है तो बात बंद हो जाती है, बात ही नहीं करेगा उससे. वो बंदा जो सामने वाला है बहुत आरोप लगाएगा उस पे कि ये हुआ, उसने ये किया वो किया. मानो कॉमन फोरम है, there's a WhatsApp thing, right, among the friends, and two friends are not talking. The other fellow keeps on throwing allegations at him, saying, look, this fellow has done that on me, this on me, that on me, and all that stuff. But although being in the group, this fellow, the Pisces fellow, will not even react, because that is where the Mercury debilitates.
ओके सर.
There will be a cold thing. He will say, okay, he'll ignore. छोड़ो उसको. That is how he'll think. Yeah, go ahead.
ओके सर, फिर I'll confirm once and then I'll get back to you.
Then look at the timing marriage of rules.
ठीक है
Okay.
सर, check that. Thank you, sir.
I'll teach those Navamsha houses, so you will understand why I'm saying all that.
Also, sir, one more thing. If like for the same Capricorn ascendant, Saturn is in Shravan Nakshatra. Like you said, giving up of land is there. And because as we know that in first house, Saturn gets debilitated also.
Loses directional strength. Yeah.
Yeah, loses its directional strength. So in this case also, sir, can this become a possibility?
Of
Provided
what?
of losing land, provided in D9 also Saturn goes to 12th house or 8th house.
Not necessarily, because land will depend on the 4th house, right?
Yeah.
4th house should also have such stuff.
Yeah.
And where from the land has come? Is it from the inheritance, or what is the kind of land it is? So it depends on the.
Okay, okay, sir.
No more questions?
And sir, one more question. Like for in the Kritika lecture, you said that if it is very prominent, the example that you said for the Sagittarius ascendant, Saturn being the second and the third lord, Saturn sitting in the 5th house in Kritika Nakshatra, the native did Kanyadana of his brother's daughter.
Correct.
Yeah. So, sir, if somebody's birth time rectification we have to do, and if we find the same trait with just planets shifting a little bit, can we take this as a trait and fix the chart, sir?
Yes, you can take up all those Agni stars. Like one is the Purva Bhadra. It is also Agni Rudra.
Okay.
The other one is Kritika. And also Pushyami is also one more thing where the Agni is there. Juhvata is also Agni. There also you can have, because see, our marriages, Indian marriage, any marriage is Agni Sakshi, right? Agni is the Sakshi. That is why there is Agni. Kritika is Agni. I mean, if you know the logic, why we are saying it, fifth house is the child, and Agni connected to it.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Yashodhara, sir. My name is Yashodhara.
You don't have to say your name, madam. We always keep
Okay, sir.
names secret here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. My Simhalagna, my Simhalagna, and my 10th in Vrishaba, that Rohini Nakshatra mein Shandev hai, and Anuradha mein 4th house. I have
Madam, I need your question. I'm not interested in your personal chart. Don't take me wrong.
No, 10th, what you said, the 10th house, when the Saturn in 10th, so not recognized so much of hard work can do, and also not recognized by the management. I am a teacher also. I'm not recognized how much I will do the hard work. That much I cannot recognize in my professional life. That's why I'm telling you what you said in our notes.
So you want to confirm that you're facing this thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Ustad.
Sorry, sir.
I'm sorry, I muted you accidentally.
Sorry,
Ustad,
sir. I was not able to reply when you mentioned my name for something. Actually, I
No,
was on the go.
Okay, okay.
So I was on and off in the lecture. But I listened the part which I listened, it was very apt, except the Saturn third and Saturn ninth. I didn't get that many connections from the charts which I have.
Okay.
But else everything, Saturn second, Saturn fifth, and Saturn eighth, and Saturn 10th. Like Saturn 5th, you said the person will not get recognition in their workplace.
Position.
So it is, yeah, position. So it is with my wife. Like she will get the pay, all the work will be piled upon her by all the doctors. She works in a hospital. But what the government MCD has done is they will not regularize her. They will appoint her through a third party. So she has also filed a case for it, but yet the case is still pending. So that thing is there, and the doctor are willing to pay from their pocket to keep her in the office. They fight for her actually. So within the government hospitals, various doctors want her because of her expertise in the work. So that is true. And Saturn second, it is my personal chat only. So Shatabhisha lecture, everyone else can listen. I have told everything regarding my mom and dad not getting along with me. That is also very true. And Saturn 8th, you said something. Yes, in-laws. In-laws will be ailed by some diseases. So I have a friend who is getting married recently, and the his wife's brother is his brother-in-law actually is suffering from some mental problem, moon ketu problem kind of thing, like schizophrenia kind of thing. So they are very much everything alike except Saturn third and Saturn ninth. I didn't get anything over there.
Acha, I mean, are you saying you did not get any trait there, or nothing matched there? What are you
Like
saying?
the charts which I have don't match very much. Like regarding the efforts you said, I see the person I have the charts of, they are very much hardworking.
Okay, so in that case, their Gemini must be very good. Okay.
Okay. So, and one more thing, like for
Let me complete my
Saturn being
sentence for the third house.
okay.
Whatever you said from the Lagna, third house Saturn. Okay, if the Saturn is in a Martian sign or in a sun sign, then it is a completely different thing. If it's a Gemini
It's
Lagna,
in a
third,
Jupiter sign.
it's in a
Jupiter,
Jupiterian
Pisces.
sign, Pisces
Yes.
sign.
With
Okay,
Ketu.
okay, okay. What is in Gemini? Sun.
Gemini. I think Gemini is Venus. Venus is there in Gemini.
Okay. Some of the Mercury or something is actually pushing him. Otherwise, Pisces, Saturn, along with the Ketu, it will make the person even colder.
Yeah, the person is very fearful of the stage and she won't take initiatives, but she is very hardworking. In the alone, she will work very hard. But whenever it comes to facing people, facing public, facing stage,
Okay, did she
she will
not
just take.
lose father's property?
No, and that was the second question I was going to ask. She didn't lose anything.
Okay. Okay.
Second question is her father, you said they'll achieve success very early, but her father actually struggled because the seventh house is of the father from third house.
Hmm.
Her father is an
There needs
achiever.
to be something that is what we are missing here.
Okay,
Anyway,
maybe.
yeah.
And same with the Saturn 9. That axis I could not relate that much. Else every else axis I related almost 100%.
Okay. Okay. Possible.
Yes, and so one feedback I have regarding one advice which you gave me in the Sun lecture,
Hmm.
a very positive feedback. Like I was asking about my health issues, like I'm very tired and all, and you said you wear a wristwatch, keep your calendars up to date, and give water to sun at the same time every day.
Yeah.
So what I did was I gave water to sun and kept all the calendars intact and wore that wristwatch. And for 9 days in the Navadurga time, I
Yeah.
gave the water to sun.
Hmm.
Nothing happened. And as soon as the Dashami Tithi came, I
Hmm.
got some advices through some doctors, nutritionists that I am deficient in my vitamin D.
Okay.
And I was suffering from low back pain from 3 to 6 months because of waking up at the wrong time due to my kid.
Okay.
So I took that vitamin D in high doses for 2 weeks and my back pain went away. And they also said,
Be careful. Be careful. If your second house has Saturn and if you're consuming too much of vitamin D, it will be a problem. Just be careful because eighth house has
no,
also.
because it is a medical advice from the doctors and
That's
it
fine then.
actually
Okay, that's
it,
fine.
it 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 actually cured my, like after giving that water to sun, I received the right advice. And they advised me to take high doses of vitamin D with magnesium and all the cofactors. And another thing they told me which I wasn't aware, like
Mhm.
the vitamin D we receive from the sun
Yeah.
only is available, the UVB rays which comes from the sun are only available from the time slot
Morning.
of 10 a.m. to not morning. That is the misnomer everyone is aware of, which I was even aware of. So I
Acha.
was going at 5 6 a.m. But the actual time you will get the vitamin D from sun, the UVB rays exposure is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
So
So
I
when the
was
sun
doing
is
it
at the
all
peak,
wrong.
at the zenith. Okay, good.
Yes, the directional sun thing, and I
Yeah.
was able to relate it when they were telling it to me, and I
Mm.
was mind blown. Like Jyotish, how accurate Jyotish is.
Yeah.
So if you are in dearth of vitamin D, and
Mm.
vitamin D will ruin your immunity. And I got to know about so much gut bacteria thing. I bought this kefir thing, and my health is kicking again in the right, I
Okay,
mean,
good. Good to hear.
direction. So from that single advice, all the things happened correctly in my life from that point on. And now I am as vibrant as ever.
Good.
Just two things, both the fifth house things, the sun and the gut bacteria.
Mm.
Amazing.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
That's what I had to share. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Sir, I had one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I had a chart of a lady
Hmm.
who delivered twins, and just after delivering the twins,
Hmm.
she has a problem of dystonia, and she also cannot open her eyes. She cannot see light.
क्या होता है? What is dystonia?
डिस्टोनिया में सर वो सारे मसल्स ना हाथ वगैरह वो मुड़ने लगते हैं
Okay. Hmm.
वो, और ना अब वो आंखें नहीं खोल सकती सर, वो लाइट नहीं देख सकती। पूरे दिन घर पूरा डार्क रहता है, लाइट्स नहीं जली रहती हैं। सो
Okay, you can see that the 10th lord and the 8th lord are conjoined very, very closely.
10th and 8th lord.
Yeah, 10th lord, 8th lord, or 10th lord, 3rd lord.
So 10th lord is dispositor of 8th lord.
That's it.
Yeah. Sir, any prominent nakshatra that we should look for, or just the 10th and the 8th connection?
10th, 8th connection in D1, D9, D3, D3 Uma Shambhu.
Okay.
You know what is Uma Shambhu, right?
No, sir. It will come in settings, I guess.
Yeah, it will come in the D3 settings. Go to D3 settings. In that, there will be Uma Shambhu.
Okay.
So what you will see is 10th is the light. Light is what your eyes will see, correct?
Okay.
Because आँखों का रोशनी चला गया. This is what people used to say in olden days, correct?
Okay.
So that is 10th house. So your eyes actually come from the 10th house. A lot of people think it comes from the 2nd house and the 12th house. No, eyes will come from the 10th house. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
10th is the sunlight. That is when the peak of sun is. 8th house is when the sun is set.
Okay.
And 3rd is also when the sun is at the midnight
Okay.
and struggling to actually rise. We've talked about this in Hasta Nakshatra, when the sun is struggling to rise.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Right.
that is a 3 a.m. in the morning. Sorry, 1 a.m. in the morning is about third house, and 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock sort of a thing in the 8th house. So 10th connected to 3rd or the 8th, both from the sun, both from the lagna and the moon.
So
Make
moon
from the
is-
moon, look at what the 10th lord is and what the 8th lord is.
Acha, so both the ascendant lord and like it's such a Virgo ascendant, sir. In
Okay.
10th house, she has sun, moon, and Rahu.
Right. So Jupiter is the 10th lord from the moon.
Yes.
So where is Jupiter placed?
Jupiter is in 5th house from moon. It's in Libra.
Okay, Jupiter is in Libra. So where is the 8th lord? Saturn.
Saturn is in Virgo, sir. Saturn and Mars are in Virgo.
Okay, maybe in the Bhava they are together.
Yeah, sir. 15 and 21 degrees, they will be together.
Or is there any connection of you said what, Virgo, right? Okay,
Yes, sir, Virgo ascendant.
Virgo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have from the Virgo, right? You have the 8th lord dispositor in the 10th house, right? Both are mixed up.
Yes, 3rd and 8th both are ruled by Mars. Mars is in ascendant.
So I gave a lot of examples in Telugu. So when it becomes the 3rd and 8th lord the same and
Yes.
gets connected to the 10th house, that is
Yes.
when there will be complete darkness.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, in the eyes there will be complete darkness. Either they are afraid of light, they can't open their eyes, or they're completely blind, or something like that. Also, same thing will apply into Navamsha Lagna.
Okay, I'll see that because I just got the chart. I haven't seen the Navamsha. So
Who would provide you all these charts? I mean, how do you get these things? I'm little curious because मेरे को नहीं मिलते हैं सब.
I have a known person, sir. मैं उनको बोल के रखती हूँ कि कोई भी अजीब चार्ट आए तो मुझे देना. I'll see for research purpose. So yeah, so now the kids are only 4 years old and the mother is suffering so much. So this chart came that can we help her?
Try doing a remedy for where is Mars? Mars is in Hasta.
Mars is in ascendant. Yes, in Hasta, sir.
Mars is in ascendant, na Hasta. So
Yes.
same thing, giving jal for the Surya can help in the very early morning. Before the sunrise also she can give.
Okay.
Or somebody else can give on her name.
Acha. Okay.
Or look at, because Hasta is in the Lagna. Are they fighting any court cases against people?
Sir, I only know that her husband and she, like husband is like, he's completely mad now, looking after 2 kids and wife. Losing money, they don't have much money. And house also, I think they have some issues with the house. Either rented house or something, property sold or something, some issues is there with house.
Time lagega. We have to sit and then analyze.
Yeah.
Couple of seconds में होगा नहीं. So
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. और दोनों बेटे भी सर लाइक IVF के थ्रू हुए हैं.
IVF के through हैं.
Yes, sir. So like there are a lot of things in this chart. See.
Lagan में Saturn है. Fifth Lord is also Saturn, right? So
Yes, sir.
both
Lagan
are. I gave you rules for childlessness.
Yes, 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 sir.
They all
Yes,
should be matching. Check them also.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anybody else has any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Preeti. Done? Okay. Preeti,
Yeah, I think nobody is there. So
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, sir, this is just, and for the kids also, can we see, sir, the same thing like her mother, why she's suffering?
I didn't get your question. Can you say it once again?
I'm saying like from the mother's chart, we can point out like these are the issues. From the child's chart also, can we point out, sir, that the mother will have some serious...
D12, you have to look at D12.
Okay, okay, sir.
Ustad.
So one last question, you said that 7 from the Saturn will get the highest amount of light because Saturn is 7 places away from it.
Highest amount of heat, not light.
Okay. Okay, then the question is invalid. Okay.
It's heat, not light. All right, let's take leave. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank-
there's one thing that I want to say. I'm not there the next 2 Sundays, okay? But I still want to deliver the lecture because the Telugu classes are almost complete on the planets. We are still falling short on them. I would believe, let's do a class on Friday evening, late evening, maybe at 8 to 10. Is that okay for all you people, or?
Yes, sir, it's okay, no issues.
Yes, sir. Okay.
If we can accommodate it on Saturday, I'll tell you. Okay, because there's a class on Saturday for Telugu. If I move it to afternoon, then maybe we can do it on Saturday. Or so the coming 2 weeks, there will be a little difficulty for the English class. So I will, please have a watch on the on the group. I will tell you there what time is possible. So if you can't join, then I'll still do the class. You all can still go through the YouTube video. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.